Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Monday Office Hours with Our Hometown. I'm your host, Matt Larson. I'm the president and CEO of Our Hometown. And as always, we've got our customer support team on the conference with me, Terry and Vera. Good afternoon to both of you. How are you doing today?
Hey, Matt.
Afternoon.
Sounds like things are good. We had a quick talk before we jumped on the call. I was wondering how are the colors of the leaves looking in Pennsylvania and New York these days?
Oh, they're beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's pouring here right now, but the leaves are gorgeous.
Yeah, I missed that.
In Pennsylvania, they're good too. They're bright colors and they're
Yeah.
actually starting to fall off right now.
Really? Okay. Well, it's the end of October. I guess maybe we're past peak colors for Pennsylvania. Well, I definitely miss that about that part of the country. We have color here, but it's a lot drier, so we don't have as much growth, and so then there's not as much color. But you get it more up in the mountains, I guess. All right. So today we've got a cool episode of Office Hours for you. I'm really excited about this. For today, we're going to talk about the newsletter system because we made some updates to it recently that just really take it to the next level. And I'll get into it in much more detail. But just as a preview, we're going to talk about the automated newsletter layout builder. Because in the past, the automated newsletter template was, very flexible. You could bring in articles and, lay them out in your template, but you could really only do articles. What you're now able to do is all different post types. So you can have events pulled in there. You can pull in classifieds. If you use the geo directory for real estate, you can pull in listings there. Those are probably the most common types of applications for the geo directory. But the point is you can pull in any geo directory custom post now along with your articles. So we're going to go through a demo on a prototype site that we have for a customer that is going to hopefully be joining our hometown very soon, the Bucks County Herald. And we'll go through a demo on her prototype because it's really from scratch. That nothing has been set up. This is an initial prototype, so I'm going to be able to show you how to put that template together and test it out. Before we get to that, I just wanted to follow up on some of our events. We had a really, really cool conference last Friday on getting started in video. And this is part of an ongoing conference series on interactive multimedia, how newspapers are getting into video and audio more on their websites and across social media. So check it out. We've got the full replay and we're publishing it on our site. It's actually published today. It's live now. And we're going to send it out in tomorrow's newsletter. So you can check that out. And if you go to that page and scroll down just a little bit, you've got the embedded YouTube video here. And so it's about an hour-long conference. And we talked with Mark Healy of The Wave and Kristen Weaver from Wilson County News. Mark's doing a weekly video, kind of like our office hours. He does it every Friday. They call it Rockaway Fridays with The Wave. And he sits down in front of a camera just like this and reads off stories from the paper. And we are actually working with Mark and helping him produce that now. So this is an area that we're getting into. It's still kind of an evolving program. I don't know exactly where it's going to go, but the vision I see for it is that we could use GoToWebinar, this technology that we have that's really great for screen sharing and webcasting, but it's also great for real-time feedback. So my vision for this is that newspapers could one day use GoToWebinar or some similar program. It could be Zoom webinar, but it really needs to be a webinar tool that allows them, and then they can invite their subscribers to the live conference, okay? And then, so it's kind of like a premium experience. Only the paying subscribers can come to the live filming of their weekly updates or their office hours, whatever they want to call it. And that's exactly what we do at our hometown. This is only open to customers, whereas our other virtual conferences are public. But then the video is put out on YouTube, and we, broadcast this widely. So there's no need, in my view, to restrict access to a video that's already been filmed. That should just be put out there and spread as far and wide as possible across social media and on your website. But to have only subscribers come to the live filming, I think really gives them, it's a huge value to them as a subscriber, because now they can talk directly to the editor, or in this case, you can talk right to the CEO and our customer support team, and we're here to answer questions. The same thing, I'm trying to get going with the Wave so that they can have their hundreds of subscribers. I think they've almost got 1,000 subscribers on their website. They can open this up to them, and then only they would be allowed to join and ask questions in real time. So that's just kind of a work in progress, and we're open to working with other papers on producing these weekly video casts. So definitely contact me, contact us at Ops if you're interested in that. And then we also talked to Kristen Weaver, who's doing a really cool program with Facebook Live in combination with her audio articles on the website. She's actually monetizing this. So she's got a sponsor that shows up on the Facebook Live feed, and also is the sponsor on audio articles. So they have the audio ads spot. And she told us she's charging $100 a week for that. So that's just like a nice baseline price point. I think you could charge more than that because it's a unique sponsorship, and it's totally innovative, unlike anything that they can get online or in print. There's no equivalent for this in terms of getting exposure for their business. They can't just go to Facebook and pay $100 a week and have this kind of a personalized sponsorship position. So really creative, these two publishers. They're doing really exciting things with video, and it's a constantly evolving thing. So it was a great conference. We had a lot of feedback from the listeners and the attendees, a lot of questions there. So check it out. The whole video is on our website. Okay. Now I want to just give you a quick preview for an upcoming virtual conference. So what we're going to actually do with this, we're going to try something new. We're going to try to clip this portion of office hours and create an advertisement that's going to go on Facebook and across all social media. So I'm going to just kind of start over here, and you're going to see me kind of change my tone here for a second. But again, we're experimenting with creating high yield video with these office hours. So this is going to turn into not just a video for our customers to watch as a tutorial when we talk about the newsletter, but it's also going to be an advertisement for one of our events. Okay, so let me just think about exactly how I want to start this. Okay, I think I got it. And I have a little bit of a script. Oh no, I didn't actually put a script together. So I just need to pull up the description on this screen. Okay. Hey everyone, this is Matt Larson from our hometown, and today I've got a really exciting announcement for you. In 2 weeks, we're going to be having a virtual conference on getting started with audio podcasts. This is going to take place on Thursday, October 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern, and we're really excited about this. We're going to have a very special guest with us, Tom Lapis, the publisher of the Henrico Citizen. He has been really leading the industry in developing new podcasts. He's launched 3 different podcasts over the course of this year, and his most frequently updated podcast is the Henrico News Minute. He does that every day, actually, every weekday, so 5 days a week, and it's just a quick audio update from the paper. So we're going to talk about his process for that in great detail, how he got started in producing that podcast, what is his process for doing it. But we're also going to talk about some other automated ways that you can get into the audio space, okay? Because audio podcasts are clearly becoming a very popular way for you to connect with your audience in the digital arena, okay? So as a newspaper, this is a great way to reinforce your brand and expand beyond the print, and even just having text on your website to expand into the audio space, because a lot of people, frankly, just prefer to consume news via audio. And we have the tools to do that, to create the audio material in a completely automated way. Okay, and that's through audio articles. So let me just actually pull this up. If you Google Our Hometown, audio articles, actually, if you just Google audio articles alone, we come up on the first page, but not right up at the top. Oh wait, I Googled us the other day. I thought that we were a little bit higher. So I'll just do Our Hometown. Our Hometown audio articles, that's the first spot there. Okay, and what this feature does is it automatically transcribes your audio, or sorry, what this feature does is it automatically transcribes your text articles on the website into mini podcasts. And so this is a way for you to create audio material in a completely automated way. You don't need to sit there and read the article on your website and record it. It happens with the push of a button. And so the idea here is that you can get into audio in a very simple way just by turning on the audio articles feature. So you can just contact us at Ops if you want to do that. But what we're going to be talking about in this conference is this idea of taking audio articles, individual stories, and stringing them together into a single audio file, or an audio edition, as I like to call it. So, and then you've got a true podcast, okay? Then you can upload that to the podcast platforms, and a listener can go in there and listen to your entire paper in one episode of your podcast. So these are two different approaches that we're going to be discussing at the virtual conference. We're really excited about it because, you know, Tom's method, I think, has a lot of benefits. It's more personalized. He can do, you know, a lot more with it. It's a lot more flexible because he's creating it manually. But then our approach might be, you know, a better option for other papers that just don't have the time, or just don't feel like, you know, they really want to put in the effort to creating the podcast manually. This is a way to do it automatically using audio articles. And so if you go to ourhometown.com/virtual conferences, we've got the registration info here. This is constantly being updated. We're doing virtual conferences pretty much through the rest of the year. They get interrupted by holidays a little bit here and there, but through the rest of the year, we're doing them roughly every 2 to 3 weeks, and we're going to continue that into the new year. But just as a quick overview, just so I make sure that I didn't miss anything, I just want to review this description here. So whether you're launching a podcast geared towards a specific topic or purpose, or you're hosting a more generalized radio style roundup of the latest headlines from your newspaper, a podcast can be an effective marketing tool. It leads to additional revenue streams. Tom has advertising on his podcast, and we can also, as we mentioned earlier with Kristen's program, you can insert sponsorship into the audio ad position at the beginning of an audio article. But this conference is just going to be about getting off the ground and getting into the audio space is the bottom line, no matter how you want to go about it. And so we're going to be looking at these two different approaches. Again, that's Tom from the Henrico Citizen. Check out his website, henricocitizen.com. He's doing a lot of really creative things. He's online only since the pandemic. So, and he's really embracing that opportunity to be a digital only newspaper. Okay, so again, this is going to be on October 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can register at ourhometown.com/virtual-conferences. We hope to see you all there. Okay, we'll cut it there for the promotion. Okay, and so that's it for events. One other thing before we get into the main topic today, I want to just go over, this is from the newsletter last week. We put this blog post together. It's actually kind of a sudden thing that Facebook and Instagram announced, but we very quickly found a solution. What they're doing at Facebook is actually here. I'll just look at some of the text here. It's an important update. So this applies if you are embedding Facebook or Instagram posts on your website. Okay, it's just individual posts. If you take a Facebook post, grab the embed code and put it on an article on your website, this will apply to you. Now, I don't think a lot of publishers actually do this. I think most publishers have a feed from Facebook or Instagram on their site, but this actually won't affect the feeds as far as we know. You know, that could change with time. Like Facebook can make these unilateral changes, and we do have to, you know, just play catch up as they do them. But as far as we know, it's not going to impact those folks. And I know a lot of publishers have those feeds, so you shouldn't have to do this for that. But if you are taking individual posts and putting them on articles, this will affect you. So I just want to read from this just so that I get all the important details in here. So Facebook and Instagram are making changes to the way that content from those social networks is embedded into WordPress pages, posts, and articles. This actually isn't just applying to WordPress. There's a lot of CMSs like Drupal that this will impact as well. But you know, we're concerned because we're on WordPress across the board. Now, beginning on, I think that's Friday, or is it? That's Saturday. October 24th, you're going to need to do a couple things to continue embedding your posts on Facebook. First, you'll have to register a Facebook app in order to continue embedding Facebook and Instagram content directly onto your posts and articles. This is because the social media giants are replacing their existing Embed functionality. That's just the name of it. You don't need to worry about it. It's called Embed. They're creating new API endpoints that require an application ID and access code in order to display the content being requested. Okay, so this is happening on your website. When you put that embed code on there, every time that page is loaded, it's going to Facebook and requesting, you know, send us the information that should be in this, you know, embedded code. So there's constant communication between your website and Facebook, and that is going to break down if you don't make these updates. So just to read on a little bit more, you've probably noticed that when you paste a URL to Facebook or Instagram, to a Facebook or Instagram post, into your article editor, WordPress will automatically take the URL and convert it to a format that displays the actual post content rather than just a URL. So you've got the picture in there, you've got some, you know, if there was a comment, you know, put on the original post, that's going to all get pulled in. So that's what I was talking about earlier, the communication. That's all happening through Embed. But this will no longer work on the 24th, so we need to make these new endpoints available to what's called Embed Plus. And so just come to our website. I'm not going to get into the details, but there's just a couple steps. You've got to register a Facebook app. We outline this step by step. Enable the Embed on your app. Enter additional app details, switch app to live mode, and then send us your app ID and secret. So those are just the steps. You're just going to have to do them once, and then you'll be able to continue posting Instagram and Facebook posts on the website. Okay, but there's just a lot of you know, technical details here, so I would just go to the blog posts and read through this for more info. Okay, what else we got here? I think that's all that I had for news today. Let's see. 1 second here, I just want to check. Okay, let's get to the demo now. So what I have here is this prototype site with the Bucks County Herald, and I'm going to actually back up and go to the newsletter page. So we're talking about the custom builder in the template builder in the new newsletter plugin. So this has been updated. Normally, when you go to the newsletter, you can go to create a newsletter and use the drag and drop composer for the, you know, build and send template. But that's traditionally that's been the only option. You've only been able to use the drag and drop composer for the manual newsletter. That's the big difference. We now have that option under the automated newsletters. Okay, so the way that you're going to get into that, just like anytime you set up an automated newsletter, you got to create a channel. So that's the first step. And I'm not going to create a brand new channel. I'm not going to go through all these steps, but well, actually, that's all that's required. You just hit add new channel. But I'm going to edit an existing one. So the process will be you go in, you add your new channel, and you can configure your channel. You know, this is all the same as the old automated newsletter, where you've got to enable the channel, give it a name. You can give it a subject, which has this code into it that'll, you know, included in it that'll pull in dynamic subject lines and dates so that you can create this subject line one time, basically a formula for the subject, and then it will automatically drop in the variables each week. Then you've got your newsletter lists that you can send to. All of this is exactly the same. So you can choose a week, a day of the week to send it, or a week and day of the month, the time. But what's new is this design feature. So let's go back actually to the template that I've already had. Well, for a second, I'll just show you this. This is a brand new template. If I hit design, then you've got all these presets that you can choose from. So if I choose just the latest news from the blog, this is what you're going to get right away. It's a very simple template. So you've got to build that template basically from scratch. But once you've built it, then it's really easy to just schedule that and have it send new articles every week. So let's look at one that's already been put together here. So if I go to design on this preset template, this is the kind of thing that's possible. So you can see that it's got the same basic elements as that initial template, but it's been, you know, filled in with a lot more detail. And so Jack set this up for me. And basically what I told him is that I want to have a newsletter template that pulls in different categories and a whole section at the bottom for events. Okay, so that's what we have here. We've got the latest news category, and then you scroll down to latest business news. So this is a different category. Then we've got latest edition, or sorry, education. Latest from the education section, I think is what you know, maybe you could say there instead. Then we've got upcoming events. So this is what I was talking about earlier with the custom post types. All this stuff above here is our articles. They're being pulled different categories from different articles from different categories. But right here is the upcoming events, and so each of these are pulling in from the GeoDirectory plugin. All right, so let me just give you a demonstration of how this template would change from week to week. I'm going to try to simulate this. Okay, so right now, this is like what would go out right now if the newsletter was sent out. It's got the latest news at the top and all the other categories. Now, if I'm publishing on the website, you know, over the course of the week, then this template is going to change as we're publishing. So let's take a look at, let's see here. I'm going to go to, open this up and go to articles. All right, so take a look at this. We've got the news category. These two articles are in news. And so there's this story about playback the recording and then graduation day. Now let's go back to the template. Latest news, this is the section. Then we've got the playback story and then graduation. Okay, so you see how it reflects what's published on the website and what has been most recently published on the website, more specifically. So here's another one, outreach from outreach group is the story. Here it is down here. So that's actually the third story in the news category. Let's just filter for that news category for a second, so it's a little more clear. All right, so now I've got playback, graduation day, outreach, centennial, and then donations. Those are the top 5 stories in the news category. Now, another thing that you can do with this automated newsletter builder is change the maximum number of stories to include. So let's change it to 5 and hit apply. You have to hit apply to see these changes as you make them. And scroll down, there's the Centennial School District story, and then here's the donations. Okay, so does that all make sense, Terry and Vera? Can you see how that works? Okay. And sorry, once again, this garbage truck is going by my window. Is that noise really loud on your side?
No, you can hear it, but it's okay. It's not.
Like
It's
insanely loud to me. I'm like shouting over here. Okay. All right. Well, that's okay then. As long as it's not too distracting. Okay, so let's see here. This is so you can test this out. You know, you could just click on these stories. The image is clickable. The teaser is clickable, and then you've got this read full story link. So this is kind of neat. This template builder is like a functional email. Like you can kind of interact with it in the way that your readers are gonna be able to. Okay, so we've got those options. Let's see here, just while we're on this, if I go to each custom post type section, you can do a bunch of things in here. Like you can say, I don't want to show the image. Okay, and actually when I make that change, I don't even need to hit apply. It will immediately apply that change. Let's say I don't want to show the date, to say no. I kind of think that looks a little bit better personally. We don't really need the date on the newsletter. They'll see the date if they click on the story. So let's not show date. And author, it's optional to show it or not. Right now it looks like the author is just, on this prototype site, it's just an email. But you can set that to be the person's name. So it's, you know, a little easier to read, but I'm not going to include that either. But I am going to include the image. I like that. Okay, so what other options do we have here? Post type, we're gonna get to this in a minute. This is an articles post type. We wanna keep that for this section because that's latest news. But you see, I can have all the other post types available on the site. Like we can include PDFs, we can include Max Galleria, we can include events, places. All these different custom post types can now be in the automated newsletter, and that's the new thing about this. Okay, couple other things here. If I wanted to only, this is probably a better option for a real newsletter. I didn't want to use this today because it's probably gonna mess up my demo, but I'll just show. If we check for new posts since last newsletter, actually it won't mess up my demo because I don't think I've ever sent a newsletter from here. But this is an option that's good whenever you're dealing with an automated template builder. You got to have some type of a check so that you don't accidentally keep sending out the same story, because that would happen. Let's say if you had a category like the latest business category, maybe that's not a category that's updated every single week on your paper on the website. So it's updated once a month, let's say, but your newsletter is going out every week. If that happens, then you want to check for new posts since the last newsletter. And if it's not a new post, you might say only include new posts. And then it will basically filter out those headlines and those teasers. So, I mean, the other thing is that if you have all these filters in place, you could say, you know, if there are no new posts, what does it do? You know, we can include a custom message to say that there are no new posts in this category. We could remove the entire block from the newsletter so that it's, you know, not taking up any space. There's a lot of different options for this, but you know, this type of stuff is probably like next level. I don't think you need to get into this complicated of a setup. You could probably just do, you know, to get started with this new automated template builder, just have one category. You don't need latest news and then latest business and then latest education. let's just have one category, and then you can pull in multiple categories into that one section. So like,
Matt,
let's see what that would look like. Yeah,
before you go on, when you were checking if you scroll up just a little bit, those
yeah.
extra special boxes on the right.
On the right up here, yeah.
Yeah, this is only going to apply to the current newsletter, right? So that if you do select to remove that block, if
Right.
there's the next newsletter, that block will appear, right?
Right, exactly. It's like it's like a little logic proof here. Like if there are no new posts in this newsletter, like when, remember, like on the configure screen, you can decide what day of the week to send it. So let's say that you're sending this every Monday at 6 a.m. What happens is at that time, at like 5:59 a.m., right before it sends, the program comes in here and puts together this template for you. And it looks at the website and it checks, has anything new been published in these categories? And if not, then do this. If at that moment when it's scheduled to send, if there's no new posts, then do what's listed here. Okay.
So this
So
applies to every newsletter. So
it actually does apply to every newsletter, but it's these rules apply to every newsletter, but the application and what the end result is
will be different for each
will
one.
be different depending on what you did that week. Yeah, exactly. This one seems like kind of a weird, I don't know if you would want to use this option, because what it would mean is that if there's no new posts in any of these categories, then I don't think the newsletter would send at all. So I think probably what you would do is, I mean, like I said, I think the best thing to do is to just, as you're getting started with this, and as you get more comfortable, just create one news section. So let's clean this up a little bit. I'm going to, let's see, maybe I'm going to go back for a second, just because I like this template. Let's see if I can duplicate it. Okay, we're going to copy it, so now we can go in there and make changes. So this is our copy. Let's go into design the copy. What I would do is probably just remove all this other stuff. We don't need all that, but we'll leave the upcoming events because we'll talk about that more in a minute. That's like a separate thing. We just got latest news, and so it's just latest news. What we're saying is that this section has latest news from all categories. So let's change it. Let's put in 10 articles. Let's say not show the author, not show the date, show the image, and let's put a bunch of categories in there. Let's put the edition in there, or the education. I keep misreading that. Business, featured stories, columns, entertainment, rather than having them all in their own section. And so if we say apply, then we should have a nice long newsletter that just keeps going and has all different categories in it. So that's pretty much how I imagine it to work. Because you see, now this story before was in the education section on the newsletter template, but now it's just all part of the latest news section. We're just saying these are all the latest news stories. I think that's a good way to get into this. And this is all gonna just be chronological. So, oh, and here's the story that was, forget which one. Well, maybe that was the one that was in education or something. It was in its own section on the template. Now it's all in the latest news. So
It was in business, Matt.
business, yeah, that's right. But you see now how it kind of splits it up because it's all chronological. It doesn't matter what category it's in. The order is, this is actually a really good demonstration because what we're seeing here is that before, when we had just latest news, it went playback, graduation, and then it went to the outreach story. That was the third one. And now red nucleus is the third story because that is the third, most recently published article on the site, even though it's in a different category than these other three. It's just what this widget is doing now is just saying filter for all these categories. Just give me a list of all the articles in any of these categories and put them in this list chronologically. So this is actually really useful for me because I haven't really gone through and experimented with all these different angles of looking at this. So that's something that I actually didn't realize about this. So I would just say, everyone, if you get a chance, come in and check this out and just experiment with the layout, because this could be very useful. This is something that self-service publishers could use, or full service. But we send out a newsletter for all our full service customers already when we do the article extraction. But I think that's really only going to include articles from that print edition. But if you had published a breaking news story over the course of the week, I'm not sure that would be included in that template. Do you happen to know for sure if that's true, Terry?
I don't know. I don't think, it doesn't make sense that it would, because breaking news is only for 24 hours. So unless it was an actual category, you know what I
Right.
mean? So if they have a breaking news category, then yeah. One thing that I do think this would be really cool for, especially for people that have a lot of high school sports schedules, like football and cross country and that sort of thing right now, would
Right.
be, if you're a Wednesday publisher, but your final scores don't come in until Friday or Saturday, then you could set up an automated newsletter just for sports that goes out every Saturday afternoon.
That's a really good point. Yes. Yeah. That's probably the biggest advantage to using this over our automated newsletter that goes out after extraction, because you could have an education dedicated newsletter, and so you would go in, you would create a channel. Let's just go through that process really quick here. I would go to newsletters. I would I would go to automated newsletters, create a new channel. Okay, here's my new channel down here. I'm going to configure that. Let's just say I'm doing the sports one. Then I would say sports, Friday newsletter. And then you can create that subject. And then let's see. This is all just a scheduling page. That's all that this page has to do with. Then I would go into design, and I would say latest news from your blog. I would pull in, I didn't show you this earlier, you'd pull in a custom post type. This is what was already done when we got into that template. Okay, and then I would just choose sports. And that's my sports newsletter. So this is only going to pull in new articles. Yep, only new posts since the last newsletter. So you're not sending out last week's scores. Yeah, that's a really good idea. So this is a way that you can get into dedicated newsletters. You could have people sign up just for the sports newsletter, just for the education. Maybe they only want to see dining articles. This is a way for you to kind of customize the newsletter outreach to your readers, so they're not just getting everything all at once. So yeah,
there's no limit to how many custom newsletters you can have, right? You can have
correct.
3 different newsletters on the same day, all scheduled to go to a certain list or channel.
Right, exactly. Yep. You just want to make sure that you're choosing, I think I lost it now, but if we go back to configure, you just want to make sure that you're choosing that list of people that signed up for it. So it doesn't just go to everyone, but it goes to, like I have a test list in here. You would have a list for sports emails, dining emails, whatever. So you target it, you target who's going to get it and when they're going to get it in the configuration area. And then you design what content gets pulled in the design tool. Okay. So let's just do a couple quick tests here. I want to show you how this is going to change. If I go in and create a new article, I'm just going to do a test one, just to make this point very clear. I already showed you how it reflects what's on the website, but if I let's just do like breaking news article. Just add some media in here so that we have a featured image. Exciting, that sounds like breaking news. Okay, then we're gonna put it in the news category, and I'm gonna give it an edition. Publish. And if we go back to the articles area, there's breaking news, just published, so it's the most recent story published on the site. Now let's go back to that template and reload this page. There it is. So now that's the top story in the news category, so it's going to show up at the top of the newsletter. Okay, now the only one thing about this is that if you want to change the order of the articles, the only way to do it is to really change the published time. So let's say I wanted this story to actually appear above the breaking news one for some reason. I would actually want to schedule this out. So this was published on the 13th. You'd want to just make sure that the order on the website or on this article's page is matching what you want it to be in the newsletter. So hold on. Okay, so there, it just, when I reload the page, now that's the second story because it was published on the 12th. This was published on the 13th. And I could then go to reload this page and those should be switched. Okay, so yeah, that's one thing about this. Like if you're using the manual newsletter builder, you could come in here and just drag those stories around and rearrange them like this. But because it's an automated template, it's not a good idea to do that because it wouldn't be automated if you tried to do it like that. You need to establish a set of rules that the template follows each week, and then control the order of the articles by, basically setting the published date and time on the website. And honestly, I think that's just the best way to approach it anyway, because you wouldn't want to have like a mix of manual and automated. It's got to be either all automated so that you don't ever have to mess with it, or if you really want that level of control, I know some publishers prefer that, then I would say use the manual drag and drop composer each week. But if you just want to set up some rules and forget it, just make it as widely applicable as possible, so that it's just going to work every week. So that's why I said it's probably smart to just have your multiple categories in this one section here. And yeah, just not, in this case, I'm saying not check for new posts, but you would want to say check for new posts since the last newsletter, just so that you don't ever have to worry about it. It's only going to send out new stuff. Okay. The last thing I just want to point out here is that we've got this upcoming events section. So this is pulling in a custom post type. Let's take a look at this. It's still a custom post type, but it's an events custom post type. Okay, so let's see, if I change this to places, interesting. So it looks like we had some sample places in there. So you could have like a business directory where you have all, your advertisers in there as a place, and then you could automatically pull in, just some information on those businesses. So I would probably change this to, local businesses or local advertisers, and then this would automatically pull in the most recently published posts in that category. But let's just stick with the events because I think that's probably a more useful tool. So this is just simply pulling in the events that are published on the site. Okay, so Riverfront Ramble, Taste of Philadelphia, that's what we have here, Riverfront Ramble, Taste of Philadelphia. And we can show more than 2, just like the articles. You gotta say apply for that. And then we've got multiple events. And if I wanted to come in here just to wrap up this demo, so it's just complete, let's just say like town hall meeting Then I can add media. Let's grab this town hall picture, put that in there. You would set all the details of the event here. Let's see, we're gonna need an address, so I'll just use this old one. Okay, publish that event. Whoops, field is required. Okay, so it's gonna remind you of the things that you really need. So we're doing events. You can have multiple categories, but on prototype sites, we don't set up any categories because we don't know what you want necessarily. So that's something that we would do before we launch the site. Okay, now just as a quick check, I'm going to go to the events page. Town hall meeting is at the top, so I'm going to expect the first event on my newsletter to be the town hall. Reload this page. Oh, okay, so the town hall meeting, it's in there, but you see what I did not do is I didn't set the featured image. So that's one thing that I'll just attach the image here, update that, and now it should show that picture. Okay, great. So that worked as expected. So it actually reverted to only showing 2 teasers because I didn't save that earlier. So you got to make sure you save this stuff as you go. Whoops. Events. Let's show 7 events and save it up here. All right, great. So yeah, that's the main thing that I wanted to talk about today, and just start to get everyone familiar with, and also get myself familiar with it because it's a brand new feature. Custom post types in automated newsletters. That really just expands the functionality of the automated newsletter quite a bit. And I think we're seeing more and more publishers trying to do events and get into whatever as events come back online, and people, well, as they start coming offline and coming back into real life, there's going to be a need for this. People, where else are you going to go to learn about this stuff? At the end of the day, it's going to be with the local newspaper. And so in addition to writing articles about it, you can be putting them in the directory system and then pulling them in an automated way. So yeah, I think that this is a real opportunity for newspapers because it's just not a lot of extra time required to build these newsletters. So you could have, like I said, just an events newsletter. You could have just the sports, like Terry was saying. You can do it by category, but it's all going to be with the custom post type. So keep an eye out for this. It's CPT on the template builder. Okay, I think that's all that I wanted to show. Do you guys have any questions for me right now? We're doing good on time. Probably want to wrap it up soon. Any questions on that at all?
No, I think
I'm good.
All right, cool. Yeah, let me know if you have anyone asking about this, because we want to make sure that they get good training on it. So we could all be involved on training the first couple customers, just so that we kind of have all hands on deck and we can all contribute ideas, because you guys had some good ones today and good questions. Okay, I think that's all that we've got for today, and we'll see you on the next office hours next Monday at noon, as always. So have a great day, everyone, and I'll talk to you all in a little bit when we meet with the Wave and John later tonight. All right?
sounds good. Thanks, Matt.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks,
Thank
Matt.
you. Yep. Talk to you later. Bye.